Sweet.
We're good?
Welcome to Just Jack's Just Chat episode 28. We've got a special guest on today. Who's our first of our Nation series. We've got Michael Kussoff back in the house.
He's also the first on the video call as
First on
well.
the video
So
call
if
as
you're
well.
not watching on YouTube, check us out on YouTube, and you can actually see Michael sat next to us. Essentially, there he is.
There we go.
Yeah, my bad. Somebody called me there, but it's an honor to be first guest on the Just Jacks. I keep that right here. I think it's cool you guys are in the UK and like kind of blending, your own view on things.
Yeah.
So, cheers to you.
Cheers.
Hopefully it spreads a little bit more around the rock here. But
No, we're trying, aren't we?
thanks for having me.
We are trying. But yeah, I guess just on that, we obviously you're our first guest, Michael, and we just got on well, didn't we? We just sort of saw things in the same sort of way, got on really well, and we've continued that relationship. So look, really happy to have you on again.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I like that that video you guys shot at Archer Field. That looked dope.
Yeah, it was. It was sweet. It was
Well,
a good experience.
I did tell you, didn't I? Mike? After we came off your conversation, I was like, I've barely been to Scotland like playing golf. I did tell you, I was like,
Yeah,
I did say on our last podcast that I was going to go up and play there more, and
Actually
then
make the
that
most of it.
sparked our reaction to go to Archerfield.
Exactly.
nice.
We didn't really have any direction with the video like we have now. We're obviously going to start a review series called Just Jack's Golf Tracks.
Yeah.
So that sort of acted as the pilot of that. You know how we go about videoing, how we go about approaching these old traditional clubs and saying them we're going to take a video camera around. Like it's a bit of a new thing for them.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
we're trying to get that right first, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll
get there.
and work out how to approach that.
So we went down to London Golf
awesome,
Club
yeah.
with that approach. So the footage hasn't come out yet, but we did something. We did an actual review of London Golf Club, and they were actually sound. Like they were fine with us with the camera. Like the staff actually embraced it, and they were like, actually, I think the staff opened up more when they were on camera.
Yeah, there were a younger set of
Yeah,
younger
yeah.
members of staff though.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, Michael. I guess for anyone who listened to the last one, do you want to give us an update, Michael? Like where you at with things now? You've obviously been on a few cool trips since we last spoke. You've developed your practice even further, and as I've seen quite recently, there's a new sort of business venture you're going down. So talk to us. What's going on? in your
Oh
world?
yeah, okay.
Yeah. What are you?
Did I fly to Salt Lake
Yes.
before or after?
2 weeks after.
It was after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that trip.
Okay. Yeah, so that was very cool. There was a gentleman who reached out to me through Instagram actually to say, I like your approach to the game of golf and I like how you do it. Like, just because you're, spreading a message of information doesn't mean that you have to change the character that goes along with it. And he, him and I were kind of on the same level as far as the way we thought of movement and the neurological connection to like a good golf swing versus a bad golf swing, all these different nuances that go along with that. So we basically went back and forth on the phone a couple times and said, what can we do to, tie this all together?
Right.
And a major theme was, when you're out on the golf course, you're a little nervous versus when you're on the range and you could just rake another ball over and hit the ball and you don't have to hit it again. So it doesn't matter. So we figured, okay, what can we do to change the physiological processes in our body relative to how well we can focus? So that's what we use those glasses for. They basically could record what you're looking at and then record where you're focusing with like a little white ring on the screen that the recording was on.
So sick, those glasses.
That technology is like, think about that.
I've seen it, but in other practices, I've never seen it in golf. So it's awesome to see. Like you say, like you can. I mean, was it a big setup, those glasses, or was it pretty straightforward, just a set of glasses hooked up to a computer?
Pretty straightforward, man. They had like a battery pack that I had in my back pocket, and then the wire ran back down through my shirt. But not bulky at all. And it was funny because he didn't tell me that they recorded audio.
Okay.
So after I saw the footage, like I'd be watching YouTube videos of like it was I think live leak near death experience videos. Like people like doing like cartwheels on the edges of skyscrapers and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, like, I hate heights to begin with. So when I would see that stuff and hear the recording, I'd be like, holy shit, and then I would have to go hit like a ball or something. So that was funny. That was a fun part about it. But basically, like none of the information just comes from the recording. What we have to do is figure out, okay, how long in terms of this metric or a measurement called quiet eye time, which is basically the last fixation of your eye on the golf ball relative to the first initiation of movement off of the ball.
Okay.
So that was the way we measured focus, basically. And he did a ton of the calculations and stuff and crunched a lot of the numbers. So like I could not have done this without him.
Yeah.
His tag on Instagram is Python Optics.
Okay.
Does a lot of stuff with volleyball, honestly. So he's got a lot of big projects going on right now. So I caught him at a good time, really.
And that's
but
the thing, Michael.
what we found was like the ideal amount of time in my pre-shot routine relative to the quiet eye time was right around like 450 milliseconds or something. So that's how long I should be focusing on the ball before I pull the trigger. And it was a case study again, because it was just me doing it. You know, we didn't have any, placebo effects of, other things we would tell other participants. So it's not like this is law, but it was pretty consistent throughout my good shots relative to accuracy, outcome of this is the amount of time that you should be focusing on the ball. Like it was all within like, I want to say like 4 or 5 or 40 or 50 milliseconds.
Okay.
So that was interesting to see as far as my own game went too. But cool trip.
Yeah.
Very cool trip.
It looked absolutely awesome.
On that, Michael, as well, I'm interested in that part as well. People talk about swing thoughts a lot. What are your thoughts on what you should be thinking about as you address the golf ball, and how important is that pre-shot routine relative to the outcome of your game?
I think it's crucial, man, because the decision making process should stop like after you can't see the ball in your target anymore. I think like you can assess your lie, you can get up to the ball, you can figure out what the wind's doing, what club you're going to hit, how the ball is going to react, all these different things best when you're looking at the ball and your target at the same time. So I think the pre-shot routine is crucial to clear your mind after you've made your decision. You're not going to hit a ball any better or worse because you get better in between the time that you're looking at the ball and you're hitting the ball, So I think the important thing to realize is like, you don't know what the ball is going to do. So like, don't even try to manipulate the swing. You haven't hit it yet. So I think that entire process of like making your decision and then sticking with your decision because it's the best you made, or could make at the time, I should say.
Yeah, that makes
that's
sense.
the important part.
Yeah, because I think that whenever I play my worst, it's because I'm indecisive about what shot I want to hit, and I'm still over the ball thinking, "Oh, was this the right club? Maybe it was a club too long. We'll try and take a bit off this." And then I hit a bad swing, and bad golf shot.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you're talking about decision making and clearing the mind, like, and the role CBD might have to play in golf in helping that process. We've seen Phil Mickelson and allegedly Tiger Woods both delve into CBD.
Yeah.
Bubba Watson came out week before, talking about the benefits of CBD in golf. And I guess it must be because of, I know there's physiological benefits to it, but maybe it's more about your swing thoughts and what position you're in mentally before you hit the golf ball
Yeah.
that's really going to impact?
Yeah. I honestly haven't heard of anything healthier as far as pain relief and reduction in inflammation than CBD. To be perfectly honest, like even ibuprofen is pretty bad for you.
Yeah.
All those like painkiller type like Advil things, they're not the greatest for your body, but CBD is good because it doesn't really harm your body. It just attaches to the CB1 and CB2 receptors that are responsible for inflammation in the body and the brain too. So
already in the body.
Anxiety.
And then linking in with, we had Envied Golf.
Yeah.
One of their products, because they split their main product line into 3 different ones, and one of them was called Clarity, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And that it basically fit in with what you've just said, Michael, where if you've got a clarity of what you're going to do, don't let your mind distract you from what you've already planned to do because you haven't hit the shot yet. Just have a clear mind and go and hit your golf shot once you've made your decision.
Yeah.
Interesting. See if that would help that.
I'm also reading a book now called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Okay.
And essentially what happens is if you envision bad golf shots or you thinking about negative outcomes of your golf shots before you even hit the ball, that sends a message to your brain too, because you have the feeling within you. You know, it's like, this is not going to be successful. You know, we all of us have been over a shot that we're like, oh my God, like this is not going to go well, you know, but
all the time.
Well, for me, Michael, because you'll not know, but Mitchell obviously is fully aware of this. I don't like playing with drivers or woods. Well, any sort of wood, especially off the tee, because I have just like the most wicked slice ever. To the point where I can control it, but I have to aim so far left to anticipate it coming back around and land on the fairway.
It's a mental block, though, isn't
it? But I know that's going to happen, so I even compensate for it. So mentally, that's always going to be the outcome because that's what my brain's telling me is going to happen.
Your body of anything else.
And then even if I do catch one straight, it's going into the trees because that's where I'm fucking aiming. So yeah, that's something I need to get.
If you're talking to a golf instructor, you're gonna send me a video of it.
Oh yeah, I will definitely. We'll do that. But however, I have used Mitchell's extra stiff shaft on his driver. That's out of context. That could have been. I could drive that pretty straight actually. The other driver I have is a very flexible shaft. So yeah.
Fuck, we're such kids.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot about me here, Mitch. Dude,
sorry,
but it's a mental block.
A lot of the driver has to do with timing, though. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of it's timing relative to the weight.
Right.
So you have to understand 2 things, like you're hitting and you are behind the ball most of the time because the ball position is up off your front foot. So that's just there to help you hit up. So you don't have to flip your hands at it or anything like that. Like you stay back here and you just let the ball position kind of dictate, okay, the club is rising up through the ball, you know?
Yeah, okay.
You're going to hit upon it.
Yeah.
As opposed to iron shots, you compress the ball a lot more.
Yeah.
Where it is and stuff.
Yeah, dude.
I do need to get some. I'll send you a video for sure, Mike. I mean, at least it'll give you a laugh. I mean, that's. So yeah. On that glasses, actually, I know you said that you were testing out different things like people near-death experiences and that sort of thing. It's interesting to see where your eyes are going. I've seen some YouTubers do videos where it's like they'll watch like anime cartoons that are like dead raunchy and stuff, and they've got to try not to look at like tits and ass and stuff, and it's like it is quite funny because naturally as a bloke that's where your eyesight's going, like looking at the wrong things. Like I'm not looking at it. Really, some good videos. If you can get a hold of the glasses again, Mike, honestly you should do it. Just get yourself on YouTube, watch it.
Yeah, they're like $20, and they have a camera in the.
Oh no way!
No way!
Yeah. So
That's
I could
mint.
use
There we
those,
go.
I guess.
That could be some funny content for you if you just kind of like try and challenge yourself not to look at
That is
any of that stuff.
it's so weird though. Like the mind plays so many tricks on us.
Yeah.
Like if you can learn to dictate your mind and control your mind, then you're gonna control the outcome.
Yeah.
That's just in general life, right?
Yeah.
I know it's something you
Yeah.
think a lot about, Michael, from your content. Is you're all about, you do a lot of self improvement work. I've noticed, and you do a lot of work on how to better yourself and better your mind, like me and Michael also do. And that applies to everything, not just golf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think like the more you are able to like analyze a situation and then react to it instead of just like being an animal basically
Yeah.
and just like you know, exposing
Reactive.
all of your initial knee-jerk reactions,
Yeah.
like that's a lot of what, you know, being coherent is. Like
Yeah.
that's what it is to be a human, is like, okay, I have this situation here in front of me that makes me feel a certain way, but like, how am I going to react to it, and how am I going to deal with it? You
Yeah.
know,
That's the game.
Yeah.
That's golf as well.
Yeah.
Just
It's
golf.
a huge part of golf, isn't it?
But yeah.
So where's your next Just Jacks golf track's going to be at?
So it's going to be at my local course. Have you heard of Close House? I've posted a lot about it. It's the host of the British Masters. It's hosting there next year. Lee Westwood's the attached professional, so to speak.
Oh, that's sick.
So yeah, it's gonna be there. We're gonna do like a play and stay review almost.
Yeah.
That's dope.
They've got 2 championship courses. It's where it is. How beautiful is it?
It's an amazing set, and their clubhouse is so high tech. It's like futuristic style clubhouse, but it
It's
blends
awesome.
into the golf.
And you
very
can wear
well.
you can wear spikes. You can wear your cap. Like it's casual but prestigious but affordable. Like it's managed to blend everything that you know that's good about the game in one, I think.
That's crazy, dude.
So we're gonna go then. I think this week or next. We haven't got a date sorted, but yeah, it's gonna be there.
And then it'll
can't
just
wait.
be a case of trying to get through as many as possible, really. We've got a few that we
Yeah.
can instantly go to, but we want to kind of make it quite spread out, so we don't just want to just do all northeast. We want to
No.
try and like do a
And we want to
mixture
do
of
different
everything.
courses. Like we love, like you guys call it municipal courses. Like we've got our versions, like a par 3 course, for example, is what
Yeah.
our version kind of would be. Like we see massive value and benefit of those fucking golf courses as well.
Definitely.
And we want to promote them
Yeah.
as well, because obviously, if you start on golf, you're not going to get a membership at a place that's going to cost £70 to £200
of course
a month.
not. 'Cause
Like,
you don't know if you like it yet.
you want to go and spend £10 and see if you enjoy it. Yeah.
Right. You guys could do, I don't know what the like rules on where you live in the UK apply to the St. Andrews courses.
Yeah.
Like if you're, I know it had something to do with being a resident of Scotland, but the deal was so affordable to be a member. It was incredible. And hearing you say that like this big 2-course facility with a sweet clubhouse is affordable is just like amazing to me, because that's really not the case over here.
Yeah,
like
right.
if you have a nice golf course, it's like, you know, it's not that inexpensive, you know. So to go out and play at the municipal golf courses is definitely affordable, but like a nice course with a nice clubhouse, like you need to have some cash, you know, to be a member there for sure.
And you've obviously worked at a lot of these facilities, haven't you, Michael? Like how much would it cost generally for like a Fisher's Island that you posted about not too long ago?
Yeah.
How much sort of cash you talking there, or is it ridiculous?
To get it, well, I don't really I don't want to say how much it is to play the course, you know, as a guest, because I don't know if they would want me to divulge that.
All right. No, that's cool. Yeah, fair play.
Some like low key private spots, like they don't want other people to know like how it is.
Yeah.
So
fair enough. But it's
those places are like it. You obviously have money, but like it's not as much as some other courses. It's just the fact that like you need a member to invite you, and you know,
it's exclusivity.
A lot of times like that member may be liable for your actions at the club too. So if you gain membership to one of the courses that I worked at, if if you gain membership there and then you act like an idiot, like that member who vouched for you
Right.
is also on the chopping block,
Okay.
because
I like
like,
that.
you know,
That's good.
yeah. So
Yeah, no, fair play. I appreciate you don't want to just. Yeah,
No, but
that's
I
fair
guess
enough. Yeah.
the point I want to make is it's just like the culture difference between the UK and North America in terms of how you can play a prestigious course are miles apart. Yeah, there's exclusive courses in England, but you can also play a really, really, really good golf course, and it's not
Yeah.
that hard to get on.
Yeah.
dude, so true. I played one of the, I don't know if it's public or not, but Crail, the Crail Golfing Society.
That's
Right.
that's on the East Coast, isn't it?
I think so.
Oh, what's it
I
next to? It's next to like Muirfield or something.
Crail.
Yeah, dude, Crail was so sick.
Society.
The it was on the water a little bit, and then they had this cave on either like 17 or 18 or something. Had a sign there about like this king, I think it was King Constantine or something, was murdered in this cave in 1652, and it's like, oh my god, like crazy, you know. But I have a picture of the sign. I'll have to send it to you guys.
Yeah, no, do that. Definitely.
But
we've just looked on the map
that
there.
place was sweet.
It's like east of St Andrews, right on the very tip on the border. So it's like right on the sea.
Yeah, it's next to a place called
Yeah.
King's Barnes as well.
Yeah.
King's Barnes has been on the top of my list for a long time. Like, you should see how beautiful that place is.
Yeah.
Oh.
We can go. We'll get it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, dude. Yep. It's on the radar.
See, that's so important for me as well. On golf courses, like I'd love like natural beauty, and if I'm on a golf course and there's a view that takes my breath away, that's how that's what really gets me.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think that's important too, because over here we have like a top 100 of golf courses that comes out every year,
Right.
but the same magazine puts out the list every year. So it's like, okay, this is the top 100 golf courses in America as ranked by this magazine.
Yeah.
For, you know, every year. It's like, okay, but what do other people think about other golf courses that on this list, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the same courses every year on the list.
Yeah.
You can almost predict the top 10,
Yeah.
you know? And I feel the same way. Like some golf courses I've got up on the tee and I looked out and I'm just like, wow, this piece of land is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just very visually pleasing.
Yeah.
And to say that like a course needs history or it needs this or that, it doesn't need anything besides your enjoyment of playing a course and how you think it looks,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
I
so
think it's a
personal
very
as well.
No, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
a personal thing. Like,
Yeah.
you can enjoy it however you see fit. And a lot of these magazines as well, like, not to be too cynical, but the golf courses who are in the top 10, 20, some of them are probably paying the
I was
golf
gonna
magazine
say,
a
they'll
bit
be
of
paying.
cash to
Yeah.
be
Oh,
featured.
dude, yeah.
100%. 100%.
And it's a bit
True.
contrived and a bit manipulated.
Yeah, and the fact that magazines are on the down. I know from first hand that magazines do openly go out and ask for money to be published because they get X amount of read. But it's like magazines are a dying game, unfortunately. So they will definitely be charging people to be in their magazines, especially something like that. It's a shame, but yeah, like you say, it's the same 100 courses every time. So why would you buy it? It should just be, oh, these are 100 new courses. It's a new edition.
Yeah.
Like every book's going to be relevant then.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
as long as they're just honest about their opinion on the course, it doesn't matter whether it's the top 100 or not. Do the people want to play it because it's in their area?
Exactly. Again, what we're trying to do with Just Jack's Golf Tracks is perhaps maybe expose some of those golf courses that people haven't really heard about, maybe.
Yeah,
There's some hidden gems everywhere. There's hidden gems everywhere.
definitely.
That's important too, dude, because technically you're stimulating the economy then. If people didn't know about those golf courses, they do now, and
Yeah.
they have another tool in their belt, especially over there, because the golf culture is like etched into the UK, really.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Whereas here, like, we love it 100%. But like, if you ask somebody in the UK or in Russia or China, what's America's sport? They'd say either baseball or football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas the UK, they'd be like, I don't know, like a lot of the UK plays golf.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's a fair
they
comment.
either
Yeah.
golf or
I mean,
soccer.
definitely Scotland, definitely 100%.
Oh, if you say
Scotland,
Scotland's
like
golf,
it's
yeah,
golf,
no doubt.
Yeah.
golf
Yeah.
and rugby, yeah, and then England's soccer and golf's up there as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's because it's everywhere and everyone can play.
Yeah, England
To a certain extent.
England just have football, rugby, cricket, and golf.
Yeah.
I would say they would be like, they're up there. Yeah.
Dude, England's rugby team is badass, man.
No, like, did you watch rugby?
Humongous, dude. Like, I have the most respect for rugby players because they just must get their asses kicked, dude, every game.
You must appreciate it from like a physiological standpoint as well. Like, people think like I know that the whole NFL concussion discussions there, but everyone wears pads.
Yeah.
Like the forces rugby players running into each other at without any protection, heads, knees, arms, studs, and like
Dude.
continue.
Yeah.
Crazy. And it's so funny because over here, and like, this might, well, I don't care. This is what I think about it. The concussion protocol over here is like a huge deal. Like, these guys are getting their bells rung and then having a tough time functioning after football. So, like, I'm pretty sure Will Smith made a movie about it.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it. Yeah, something like that, right? It was a good movie, from my understanding. But, you know, then the next day, when you turn on ESPN, you'll see highlights of some guy getting lit up, and everybody's like, yeah! It was like, yes! Like, that was sick! And it's like, what do you expect? You know? Like, you have the biggest, strongest, fastest human beings running at each other, trying to hit each other as hard as you can. And it's like, what did you like? Did you think they're just gonna be all right?
And you're highlighting the biggest hits. Like, that's what
exactly.
like, that's what you're celebrating. This is football.
Most of YouTube highlight reels in rugby, and probably in the NFL as well, are big hits and impressive tries.
I fucking love watching big hits. It's like
it's either amazing touchdowns, like Hail
dang.
Marys and 70-yard runs and shit, or huge hits of people getting KO'd. Like,
crunched.
Crazy, dude. And rugby is almost like gruesome to watch sometimes. Like, if you watch like NFL top 10 big hits, you can kind of be like, oh, nice, like that was sick, like that guy got lit up. But in rugby, it's like, oh my God, like that guy is probably going to be in the hospital.
It's folded. I think the difference is, with American football, obviously, you do have protection. I'm not saying that they're not hitting them, because I do think I'd struggle in American football way more than I would in rugby, because I've played rugby. But the difference is, in American football, it's a hit and it's instantly stopped. Like, there's nothing more. Whereas with rugby, it's a hit and it's still going. It's not. It never stops until someone makes a foul or goes out of play. Like, there's no stop.
If you get rocked in rugby, it's just like, all right, dude, like, come on, get over it.
you like the story. So I don't know how much. Do you watch rugby quite a bit? So you understand like the rules and stuff or not?
I do not understand the rules of rugby at all.
That's fine. Okay. So the school we went to was heavily rugby based.
It's fourth oldest rugby school in the world.
Fourth oldest rugby team.
Rugby club.
Fourth oldest rugby team to have ever been created was our school. So it was embedded in tradition. They loved it. They forced us to play 2 hours a day, which was fine. It was amazing when you were a kid. When I got older, I was a bit like, hang on a minute, I'm getting crunched by guys like Mitchell on the daily basis. Like, I need to stop it. But on the concussion thing, like you say, that when you get hit, you've got to just get back up and go with it. In rugby, there's a guy called George Bryant, who's the captain of the first team at the moment. And whenever the first team was playing, the whole school would come and watch. And I don't remember what school they were playing, but after there's been a tackle or a breakdown, you would have to line up as a defensive line and face the opposition in a really long line, and you would kind of like all go up at once, or else someone could be offside. I'll never forget this. George Bryant got up, and you would always shout "ready!" Like, so as a team, you would know that everyone's ready, ready, ready. He got up, he'd just been absolutely KO'd. Like, he was dizzy as fuck. Got up and he was like, shit, I need to get in the defensive line. Ran over. It was like bench staff's going, ready, ready, facing the complete wrong direction. Everyone's like, what the fuck's he doing? It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. The coach was straight away like, you got to get off, mate. You are clearly concussed right now.
So I assume he got like a concussion. Though,
yeah,
right?
yeah, he came straight off the pitch. He was like, yeah.
But even then, we didn't treat it very seriously. It was
No,
like,
we just
it was like
laughed.
take 2 weeks off training, then you're back at it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's nuts.
But really, the coach would be like, back tomorrow. It would be the nurse that would be more keen to be like, you're off for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The coach would be like, no, you're fine, mate. Dude, get back in.
It's weird concussion because they're saying a lot in boxing. It's been related to boxing quite heavily. They say if it was bare knuckle boxing, the implications from a brain perspective would be a lot
better.
less long term.
Because it's radiated around your head.
Because your brain's getting constantly knocked against your skull all the time. That does the damage.
Yeah, dude.
It's crazy.
It really is, dude.
But like you say,
I don't play football, bro.
But it's going to affect, the economy far too much. How like the NFL is too big a business to like stop people playing.
Booming, like yeah. And there's always going to be people who just be like, you know what, I don't care. I'm hardcore for the game. Like,
yeah,
it is what it is. Like, it's a risk I'm willing to take.
But kids aren't playing football anymore. Like the parents are like, no, you're not playing that sport. Go and play soccer. You're not going to get hurt.
Oh, really? Is that like a genuine issue?
That's a genuine thing.
Yeah, dude, it's true.
Damn.
If I was a parent at this point in time, I would be like, I don't know if I want my kid playing football, dude.
Yeah,
like,
fair.
why even expose him to those, risks?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
of course, if he really wants to play, it's like, all right, dude, like, go try it.
But you wouldn't encourage it.
Yeah, dude, I'm so glad that I did. Because I have no issues with my body at this point in time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of football players, a lot of wrestlers, this and that, they got bad knees and shit. And it's like, damn, like, you got to deal with that every day, So,
your life after your career as a sportsman, your career is very short when you think about compared to the rest of your life that you're going to have to put up with issues you pick up in the early days.
Yeah, dude. Crazy. And like the wrestlers at Penn State, when I went to Penn State, they won the national championship like pretty regularly. Like if they didn't win it, like it was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Seriously, like they won. It's within the past 10 years, like I would say a majority of them, over 50% of them,
nice.
I would have to say. And those guys, dude, they just train like animals, dude. And then I've only heard of a few of them go on to like the Olympics, though. So I have to think like, damn, you're super passionate about it, and I can appreciate that 100%. But it's like, what toll are you putting on your body after you're done? In a couple years, really. So I think that's important to think about too. Even with the golf swing, like longevity, which is another reason why I like the CBD stuff.
Okay.
Because if you're not inflamed and you don't feel that pain, then you're not making compensatory moves just based off of your brain telling your body to be inflamed in these certain areas.
Yeah.
So, pain often leads to compensation, and those compensations often lead to habits, really. So, you might create more injuries just based off of the one that you have.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's one of our rugby coaches used to say something called practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. So if you're constantly practicing rubbish and compensating, you're going to permanently be doing that. Yeah.
Dude, yep, it's so true. And that was another topic that touches on that book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. They talked about instead of the comfort zone, thinking of it as an emotional addiction, because like the golf swing is something that is difficult to change because of your feeling towards a correct swing. So if I do this, this is going to accomplish this. Well, that's just purely emotional, bias to what a correct swing actually is. So in order to get out of your comfort zone, you just have to have different emotions towards a different feeling, really.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
you know,
That's so relatable. Yeah, 'cause
it's
I imagine that's the first thing you do with clients, right? Is say you might suck for a bit.
Yeah.
Because you're going to change. We're changing your golf swing here. You haven't just come to see me because you're playing good golf. You're coming to see me because you're changing. So the first change you need to make is mental.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah.
Oh, we've frozen now, Michael. I'll catch you up in a sec, I think, unless he's took a call. There we go.
Oh, good.
There we go. You take a call.
All right, cool. I think that's why Brooks is so good, dude, because he's right. Like he said something earlier in the week along the lines of, I think majors are easier to win. And he's right, because a lot of the field who isn't mentally tough enough to handle the pressure of it's almost like the fear of success.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, oh, it's a big tournament, it's this, it's that. Well, yeah, but like, you know, you could win.
Yeah.
You know, you could win.
Yeah.
And he said a lot, like 50% or some big number, I can't even put out a percentage, but he said a lot of guys are going to beat themselves because they just don't know how to act in that situation. So even on Sunday, when he went on that, you know, the bogey train there,
almost.
I wouldn't call that a lapse in his talent. I would say it's a lapse in his focus.
Yeah,
you know,
that makes sense.
DJ almost won that tournament.
He really should have. DJ faulted us on the 16th. He hit his iron a bit long, and then he had a bad swing on 17, and then and that was him. But like the opportunity was there, and I think what you said before is such a valid point. Like for most golfers, being accepted into a major is the pinnacle. That's the top of what they ever hope to achieve. They're there. Like all of a sudden it becomes a different game. Like, oh, I'm just happy to be here now. I'm never going to win one of these things.
No,
I'm just going to. Harold Varner was in the final group. He shot 10 over par.
Yeah, dude.
He folded. He folded badly.
You need to be like, I'm in a chance.
He never believed he was going to win.
Yeah, that's a bad way to do it, isn't it?
Dude, and I think like it's interesting too with Brooks because he 100% isn't as iconic as Tiger Woods.
No.
So the crowd is against him. You know, it's not like, oh, I really want Brooks Koepka to win this golf tournament. You know, and everybody's there saying, yeah, Tiger, yeah, Phil, like, Phil, give me a thumbs up. And they lose their minds because Phil gave him a thumbs up. So it's like, if you can get over that hump too of like, listen, other people might not know me or even be rooting for me. You know, Patrick Reed won the Masters, and a lot of people don't like him. You know, I love Patrick Reed's golf swing, and you know, his personality is like something that I can't really judge because I've never met the guy. Now I've heard all these different stories, and of course the biases kind of slip in, but never met the guy. So I think his golf swing is sick. I think his mental fortitude was impressive during Augusta there because nobody wanted him to win.
No.
Yeah.
You know
and the chase and pack as well, Michael. The chase and pack was Rory, Ricky, and Jordan Spieth.
Oh Jesus!
Oh my God!
He won it. He won it well,
He's
and his
well
Ryder Cup record prior to Paris was clutch. Like he beat Rory McIlroy, was playing the best golf he'd ever played, arguably in 2017 when he had that amazing match against him. Patrick Reed won one up.
That's crazy, dude. Crazy.
He was going. Yeah. Rory McIlroy was draining bombs like 20, 30, 40 footers, and everything he had to give, Patrick Reed was straight back. Like he was really impressive. But
dude,
but like you say, nobody likes the guy.
It's a shame, you know. I've heard stories about him, and I've heard that he did this in college, or he did that.
Loads of those.
Like, I don't know. You know, I can't judge because like I don't know what situations he's been in.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how he was brought up, or you know, I never met the guy. So I like watching him hit the golf ball though, dude. I think his golf swing is sick.
Yeah.
Um, and I think his mental fortitude is impressive as well. Um, you know, I think in terms of the big picture, like Jordan Spieth could learn something from Patrick Reed in that realm because Jordan Spieth does let negative outcomes affect him negatively.
Yeah.
Like we see it. So I think the the fear of failure and the fear of success are two things that, like Brooks was saying, totally just take out half of the field in those majors.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that elite level as well, Michael, I think the fear of success becomes greater than the fear of failure because you're at that elite level, you don't have to worry about money. The money's coming in fine. You finish top 50 most weeks, you're going to be earning good money. And they almost it's about that self belief and if you feel deserving of a win.
Yeah.
And I saw that's something not a lot of people are born with or even try and learn. Because it's okay not to win the
Yeah,
Masters.
sorry, yeah, dude. Yeah, sorry, you're cutting out of here a little
it's
bit
all good.
here.
It's all good.
Move by the window, see if I get better.
It's good for the YouTubers. You better get a little fresh angle.
Oh, we're at Michael's sacred area. I see. It's the bed behind him.
Yeah, dude, chilling.
Nice.
But yeah, dude, you cut out a little bit.
Oh,
there.
sorry, man. Sorry.
No, but I think we're just talking about the fear of success outweighing the fear of failure at the elite level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
dude.
I think that's in every level, isn't it? I think that's a mental issue that a lot of people would
because
have.
a lot of people have already succeeded by being in the Masters.
Yeah.
No one's expecting them to win, so like it's okay not to win.
But that's which really is
that's the fall. That's the fall.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
I think like, yeah, I would have to agree with you, and it seems as though they're more concerned with like, what people are rooting for them and what people are not rooting for them.
Yeah.
I think that that's more prevalent at the elite level, because it's like, oh, everybody wants Jordan Spieth to win, but I'm Patrick Reed and this and that, and nobody really likes me. And for him to surpass that is it's impressive to me for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like you say, like to put yourself in his shoes, and that's a big mental challenge to get over.
I was just about to say that's like you can tell you're a good coach, Michael, because I mean you're obviously very empathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to be.
And society isn't empathetic, generally speaking, right?
Yeah,
they're biased. They try and fit the situations around them to fit their narrative and to they sort of borrow self-esteem from the narrative that they've created.
Yeah, I appreciate that because that's pretty much my number one thing that I try to focus on is like, how is the student feeling right now?
Yeah.
Because if you're nervous during a lesson, or if you are, thinking one thing but a different thing is happening, like I have to put myself in their shoes and figure out, okay, one, not like they're going to be uncomfortable to begin with because they're not coming to me because their swing is good. So it's like, hey, can you help me? And it's like, yeah, like I would love to.
Yeah.
I would really enjoy that. But you have to kind of take into account, like, they're probably nervous, like they're not hitting the ball well, So that was a big thing I took from, I shadowed Daniel Berger's swing coach. Well, I didn't shadow him. I basically just said, hey, could I sit down with you and talk to you about golf instruction for a little while? And he had turned down a kid who wanted to shadow one of his lessons, and I was like, okay, he seems like he's a great guy, so why would he do that? So I said, hey, do you mind if I just sit down and talk to you about how you go about things and how you give a golf lesson? And he said, sure, that's fine. And I asked him during lunch, we were having lunch, and I was like, how come you don't let people shadow your lessons just out of curiosity? I'm not salty about it or anything. And he said, well, you have to understand that like the student is nervous when they're with you. Like, they're hitting shitty golf shots and you're watching them.
Yeah.
You know, you're watching them hit shitty golf shots, and that doesn't feel good. Like that doesn't feel good for anyone. So to say, hey, I'm going to have another set of eyes on you, purely judging what you're doing, like giving you no feedback, to sit there and say, I'm just going to watch you. You know, it's like, oh, fuck. Like, I don't want this guy seeing me hit shitty golf shots, let alone have another set of eyes there to, you know, purely just watch me hit shitty golf
because
shots
then
and
you
do
feel like
nothing else.
you feel like you'd have to justify a bad shot to that person who's not speaking, because the coach would always be like, right, yeah, okay, do this, do that, whereas the other person sitting silent, you'd be like, oh, I did that because of this or whatever. Like, I feel that's how I would.
It's adding complexity to the learning sort of process.
It's interference.
Yeah, it's interfering with it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So I totally understood that. And I'm not sure if I would let anybody shadow my lessons now that I think that. You know, I might show them a recording of the video and say, like, here's what we worked on, here's why we did it. But, like, I like one-on-one lessons. I'll do group lessons, but I think it's better to do group teaching how to play golf because everybody's in the same boat. It's not like, oh, my buddy's over here ripping it and I'm hitting, you know, fucking shank tops over here.
It's two different lessons.
Having that same feeling of like judgment, really. So I try to put myself in the shoes of like even tour players when I see them, when I'm watching them play. Like, wow, they must feel like this shot is crazy right now, and then how do they do it? You know, how do they go through the process? And it's the same way every time. So that's why I think that whole breathing thing and the pre-shot routine is important, because it puts you in the right internal environment to do the same thing every time, regardless of the implications. You know?
I think that's probably one of the hardest things with golf, is to make sure, because if you do the same, if you've got your technique down to a T and you've got your swing down and you do the same every time, then you should naturally be a good golfer from that. And it almost brings you. I don't know if you ever used to watch Malcolm in the Middle. Brian Cranston was the dad, and they went to a bowling alley one time in the one episode, and Brian Cranston had this little routine he would do before bowling every single time, and he guaranteed a strike, and it links to that, and you can see it. And the one time he changes it up, Reese fucks it up for him, but he doesn't get a strike, and it relates to the golf, where if you can just get your routine down and get rid of all the mental blocks, then you should hit a sweet shot. If you take a strike.
That's what was interesting too about the study that we did, was like, as the week went on, because the first 2 days for me were kind of like in the twilight zone, because I flew across the country basically, and then the next day I hopped off the plane and I'm hitting balls. So like the baseline number in hindsight should have been over, like, you know, ideally like 2 days or 3 days. But just look at one club, like throughout the whole study, you know, like we looked at all the information we got, and Mike was like, dude, like, we bit off way more than we can chew here. Like, we have so much information to look at across so many different parameters that it's like, you know, we have to really pick and choose what information is like worth our while, and then be super honest about the stuff that just doesn't make sense, you know, because we don't have the volume. So I think that's what we would do next time, is figure out, okay, you know, probably with the driver, you know, honestly, to get into that routine of, you know, see fairway, hit fairway. You know, in in a nonchalant kind of fashion. So, building that pre-shot into the subconscious instead of thinking of having those checkpoints, it's more of just like, you're sinking deeper and deeper into focus. Because, I think there needs to be a certain amount of, attention to shots that require a lot of accuracy. So if you have like a bunker shot or something that you have to, land high and soft or something like that, like I'd be willing to bet that there's a little bit more, flexibility there with the actual artistry of what you're doing. Whereas the driver swing, it's just like you're trying to put it on a track every time, just knowing what the ball is going to do every time, so you know where to aim and you know where the miss is going to be.
There's
and it's
less
just
variables, isn't there? It's like just pretty straightforward off the tee.
Well, you say that, but I think the point Michael's making as well is like, theoretically it should be the same shot every time, but I know for a fact if I'm standing on the tee and I know my miss is right, so if I see some trouble right, it's in my I'm in my head, I'm like, this is right, like I know it's completely the wrong mindset to have. Like, the swing's the same every time. It should be fairway, hit fairway, but it's not. It's a simple. It's a simple sort of reality of it. Is it's not that straightforward, right?
Yeah. It's very straightforward too, and like DJ, from my understanding, you guys are good. DJ, from my understanding, hits the same ball flight basically.
It's frozen. Damn it. Matt got a call. 2 seconds, guys. There we go. We're back. So you were saying DJ hits the same ball flat every time?
Yeah. Like he'll hit a little baby cut pretty much for every shot. Unless he has to hit a draw, I don't see DJ hitting draws very often. No. And I saw the same thing of Brooks. Brooks was hitting a cut every drive that I saw, which I don't have a problem with it. He knows what the ball is going to do, and he's strong enough to make a cut like that go far. If he wanted to and he wanted to hit the ball farther, he could get another, like, I'd be willing to bet if he hung back on the ball and hit up on it and really utilized the weight of the club a little bit better than he's hitting down on his driver right now, I'd be willing to bet he could get another like 40 yards if he wanted it to. But he knows that swing every time, and he knows what the ball is going to do every time. So it's like there is no trouble, right? There's just my target, and here's where I need to aim because of my ball flight. So it's not what's this ball going to do? It's like, this ball is going to do this because it does it every time, so like, I think he is such a tactician that people don't really understand just how good he is, dude.
I agree. Like Tiger says, it's all about managing your misses at that level. He's not, the fact is, he's never going to miss left unless the wind's up. Unless the wind's up, he knows he can take the left hand side of the golf course out of play. It is irrelevant to him now. Whatever's left is irrelevant. It's what's in front of him and what's to the right of him.
Yep, it's so true, and that's such a good way to look at it too, because that takes like half the stress of your shot off of you. It's like a two-way miss is just there is if your swing is more dialed into using the hands. I'm trying to use my hands in these different situations, and if I'm super fired up and I have a lot of adrenaline going through my body, like you do in pressure situations, like your hands just aren't strong enough to handle what the golf swing is supposed to do. So you might as well ingrain the accuracy of your rotation into the legs and the core and figure out just where I need to leave the golf club so it gets in the way. So that's why I think Brooks is going to play good golf for like a long time. I think that's why DJ plays good golf, because he just like is incredible with that. Like his torque that he creates in his body is super impressive. And his bowed wrist like that, having that amount of, you know, flexion in the wrist and just being able to keep it there and just rotate through the ball must make ball striking so much easier for him.
Yeah,
you know?
man. Yeah. I listened to Claude Harmon speak about Brooks, and he said the way he manipulates his ball flights is just simply with ball position. So his margin for error is so much lower because he's using his big muscles that can perform more consistent movements over time. He doesn't need to think about his hand or his wrist that require like impeccable timing in high pressure situations. It's all big muscles. He knows his miss, and all he has to do if he wants to hit the ball lower or higher is put his ball either further forward or further back in his stance. Like he keeps it very simple, and that's genius to keep the game that simple.
That's so true. I think like overcomplicating things is
not good in golf. It's never good in golf.
No,
yeah,
definitely not.
And the amateur game struggles so much because we want to overcomplicate it. We want to feel like a professional. So we're like, oh, the wind's coming off the left. It's hurting a little. I'm going to hit a gentle like baby draw. And it's like, not like unless you're a scratch golfer. I'm sorry, most amateur golfers haven't got an intentional baby draw in the locker.
No, definitely not.
No, dude,
like, come on.
Definitely not. I mean,
like the amount of people I play with, including myself, sometimes get caught up in like trying to be like the pro and talk absolute shit. Like, it's true though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's definitely true. I think if you can't visualize it, then you can't hit it. Like, if you can't say, I can see myself hitting this shot, then you can't, you know, like you can't even.
You have to have practiced it. You have to have got it down to a tee on the range or in the practice facility. If you can't just make it up on the course, it takes so much time and effort to do it.
You asked me to hit a draw on the range. I can't. You asked me to hit a draw with tons of trees on my left. I can hit a little. I can hit a little draw.
All right. Okay.
I can visualize it with what Michael's saying.
Right, sorry, if I'm
blocked out, if I'm blocked out, my only route to the green or near the green is with a little draw. I can a lot of the time play it. If you ask me to hit a draw on the range, I'm pushing the ball every time. Like,
yeah,
it's more. It's crazy what the mind can do.
Yeah, no, it
really is.
I think with golf's one of the best sports to highlight that. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because there's mine's. I don't know what percentage obviously it would be, but it's a lot of it. Obviously, your swing's a huge amount, but the mindset. If I'm in a good mindset, I can play. It's a totally different game that I play compared to when I'm down. Like, I often get tired after 9, 10, about 12 holes in, and my game just goes through the floor, and that's totally mental. That's like I'm not physically tired or anything like that. I'm just mentally like
drained.
Oh, this has been tough because I'm not the best golfer. So after hitting so many bad shots. Your mental capacity takes its toll, and then by the end of the round, I'm like, I'm definitely gonna hit a bad shot now, like, and then that's already in your head, and you're gonna do that.
Dude, it's amazing, like how much of a toll those thoughts put on your body too, because you're essentially in a state of fight or flight. Then, like, you're nervous over every golf shot, and it's just like, damn, this is like tiring. At the end of 18 holes of golf, you're just like, whoa, like mentally drained. So that connection between the chemicals that are produced inside you because of those thoughts to what your mind is perceiving those situations at will tire you out. Like, definitely. Your mental fortitude will not be as good on the back nine as it was the front nine.
No.
That's why a lot of people, when they start out shitty and they are super nervous over the golf ball, by like the 12th hole, they're tired and they don't give a shit anymore, because it's like, well, I really cannot focus on this round of golf anymore.
And if you look at the Archfields vlog as well, I think that's. I know we're kind of jumping topic here, but I feel like that's why it's important to have a really nice clubhouse facility and good showers as well. Because if you have had a tough round, it just changes your mindset. If you get in, you're like, oh, I'm getting a robe and I'll have a shower. Like, if you see in the Archfield video, that mindset for me was almost the last 6 holes. I was struggling, so the ability to go back into a nice, comfy clubhouse. Was amazing.
Yeah, like I'm all for dog tracks in terms of accessibility for people starting the game.
Yeah, of course.
But like if you're an avid golfer, like and the facilities are good, you
That-
just play a better round of golf. Don't you?
Yeah. Definitely.
We lost you.
Yeah, sorry, you guys are a little scratchy.
Oh, sorry, Michael. It has frozen there. I'm sure.
Good
There
one.
we go.
Okay,
There
we've got
we
you,
go.
okay.
We're back. Yeah. Mitchell was just saying how much obviously facilities aren't everything. But the fact that if you have got a nice facility to set you away and come back to, your mental capacity is going to be in a more fresh environment and
Yeah.
things like that. And yeah, you'll enjoy it more, let alone play better.
I think the vibe of the clubhouse is super important. That should have that welcoming,
Yeah.
vibe to it. A lot of super exclusive golf clubs are not inviting. They're not inviting to someone who wants to get into the game.
Yeah, no, they're
It's
not.
like,
Yeah, not inviting to fresh, to young people. They're not inviting to outsiders.
So happy you said that.
Yeah.
Because again, that's another goal of Just Jack's Golf Track is we are rating golf courses on how welcoming they are, because that's a huge factor. We think that's a huge factor.
I almost feel like the words you put it into, Mike, as well. The vibe.
Yeah, it is. We need to use that.
We need to use
if
that.
You don't
as
mind, copyrighted by Michael Kussoff. Hopefully not.
How good is the vibe?
Yeah,
of the clubhouse?
The vibe of the whole place. Yeah.
Just change attitude to vibe.
And the vibe of close, like back to my home facility, Close House. When you drive in there, the vibe is instantly like, oh, it's like therapeutic almost, man. It's like,
oh, it's the best. Yeah.
Look forward to filming that actually as well, Michael. So now that we've discussed it beforehand, you can see it retrospectively, the full facility, because it is the drive down. It's fabulous. You've got a nice stately home as well on the left, and then you've got the clubhouse on the right. It's a fantastic facility.
You need to come to the UK, Michael. We need to do something.
Yeah.
Like you need to do a golf tracks week with us
I'm
or
down,
something.
dude.
Yeah.
We need to organise the clubs. Like obviously, it's going to require a bit more organisation than what me and Mickey usually like piss in the wind and see what sticks sort of thing. But yeah, we need to just because I feel like we're on the same level. We definitely appreciate the same stuff.
Yeah. If you ever in a position to be able to come over, let us know and we'll organise the whole thing.
Golf, yeah.
However long or short, whatever, we'll sort
accommodation and golf,
and we'll make sure we
I'm down, dude.
Yeah, accommodation will be sorted definitely, and we'll sort the golf out as well. That was
I love
sick.
to travel. It would be cool to play a couple different tracks too. I think that St. Andrews area would be sick.
We'll do it.
Like,
yeah.
There's a hotel called the Argown Hotel that's like right up the street from St. Andrews, and that's where we stayed when we went there.
Nice.
So we would take a bus to we took a bus to Crail was a little bit of a drive, but we walked to the first tee at St. Andrews. I was like, what? Yeah. This is wild.
Through the town for you as well. Obviously being how old that town is as well. Walking through the town on the first tee, you must have been like, what the fuck?
Dude, it was wild. You're in a time capsule, for sure. But even the vibe of St. Andrews was not menacing to pedestrians.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, look at that nice golf course over there. It wasn't like a stately, huge clubhouse with everybody in uniforms. All go sign in and bag drop is here and this and that. People walking their dogs on the course.
It's integrated. It was integrated. I think that's the perfect word to describe it. It's integrated into the society, into the culture, into the town, into society. You just rock up there and play.
The whole area is the course, not just the course.
Yeah.
It's the whole. Yeah. It's part.
Like
the
you
whole
say,
facility.
a lot of American country clubs. I can imagine huge, massive drives, big white gates, loads of suits, loads of different areas, formal.
Yeah.
St. Andrews is feel like you could go take your dog to the first tee and then have a few pints in the pub afterwards, sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's so true, dude. It's funny because over here you would think the UK would be more traditional about their processes of going out onto the golf course, not necessarily prim and proper, because I wouldn't put it that way, because their procedures on those golf courses are seamless. Nothing goes wrong. they know what they're doing. They've been doing it for I don't know, like 300 years. They have the experience. They don't really mess around, but you're there to enjoy yourself. The big putting green on St. Andrews too. I guess they have like a women's putting league there or something like that every week or something. I remember reading it in like this book that a caddy wrote from St. Andrews. I forget the name of the book.
Fair enough.
Oliver Horowitz is his name.
Okay.
He's a caddy. It was basically like a biography of his book. But yeah, there's like just such an integrated part of the community, which is dope.
Well, I've never actually been to St. Andrews.
You know what the mad thing is about St. Andrews is I've never been either, but a lot of what I hear is like the golf course probably isn't the best golf course you'll ever play in the world, but
I've heard
that's the last thing you think about when you're there. And for me, that's what probably makes it the best place.
Because that's what you focus on.
You know,
such a sick...
it's like a secret sauce.
Oh my God.
What's that? It's like a secret sauce, like grandma's recipe. It's like you can't really put your finger on it. You don't really know what it is,
but it's the best.
But there's something about it that's the best.
It's the home of golf.
Yeah,
it is because it's the home of golf.
Yeah.
I need to plug you guys in here,
no
but
worries,
I think, dude, it's funny because you're so excited to play the golf course because you've seen it on TV. You've seen, the greats really just, being totally immersed in that moment of winning the Open.
Exactly.
Walking up the green over the
bridge.
Smoking Bridge. And then you're walking on it too. It's like, whoa, definitely a goosebumps kind of feel,
Yeah, I can imagine because everyone's seen it. Everyone's seen pictures of St. Andrews. Anyone who's got anything to do with golf,
Picture on the bridge,
is either teed off it on one of the holes on a simulator, or seen it on TV, or has Googled it just to be like, "Ooh, St. Andrews."
It's iconic.
Golf.
Yeah,
Everyone, it's
100%.
No, we need to get a trip sorted for sure. That would be
100%.
Michael, how much? Obviously, I see a lot of your content. Obviously, a lot of it's instructional. Like how much golf do you actually play? How many times a week do you actually go out and just play 18?
Dude, not very often, bro. Unfortunately, now that I'm like independent and teaching independently, like that's something that has declined slightly.
okay.
But I think that's one of the growing pains of just getting into that side of like what I was doing, because eventually I would like to be a member somewhere and just have the liberty to go there and hit balls and work on the game and get better, because I think there is a huge difference between just going to the range and working on your swing and actually going out and playing and learning how to play golf, what your tendencies are and what you do when you're in certain situations, and building up the confidence during those situations, so when you get out into a tournament, then okay, here's my best shot. It's happened before. I've done this before. So going to a range and hitting off of a mat is fun. I enjoy it. It's almost like therapeutic, but going out onto a golf course is like a different, it's a different mindset. You're different stimulation. Right?
Yeah. I mean, generally speaking, at the end of every range session, you feel like you could walk out and tour tomorrow, and then you go out on the golf course, you realize you don't really hit that many greens.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Well, I don't anyway. I don't hit many fairways. That's
especially if you only get one shot at it, whereas in the range, you're like, oh yeah, I'm hitting the green, but you took about 50 shots to get there.
I don't know, but I want to pick your mind on as well, Michael. Like my 56 degrees saves my game. Like I don't hit many greens. I don't think a lot of amateur golfers do hit many greens, but my chipping's pretty good because I go and practice my chipping. Why don't people go and practice their short game? What is it about people saying they've got to go to the range and hit balls for 2 hours?
Yeah.
And they wonder why the scores don't improve. What's that about?
No, it's true. It is like something that I have mixed emotions about, definitely, because you are technically working on your game if you go to the range and you
Yeah,
say, I
absolutely.
didn't play very well, so I'm going to go hit a few balls. I think being honest with the statistics of your round is important because,
Yeah.
say, you had 50 putts and you shot, 90, and you go and hit balls on the range, then I would say you're not um, you're not doing yourself a disservice. You're not practicing because you are, and you might shoot 88 the next round because your ball striking was better, right? You're hitting the ball closer to the hole. But say you work on your putting for 20 minutes and you find out that, like, oh, I'm like cutting across my putts big time and I missed all my putts, short and left or whatever it may be. Then you tweak that and you work on that, and you might shoot 78, 80 the next round because you
Yeah.
took off the biggest problem,
Yeah.
So again, the emotional addiction versus comfort zone thing is very prevalent in practice because we like to practice what's fun and what we're good at,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a good point. Is the range is from a fun perspective, it's easier. It's more like you just smashing balls, going for it. You don't have to go and retrieve them
Dude,
either.
Yeah,
That's a
like
yeah. Whereas if you're
yeah,
chipping,
you
you've got
don't
50 balls
see.
in the green to go and get back. It's like, oh dang, gotta go get them again.
and
Yeah.
it's mad from a putting.
Yeah.
Putting is a bit more demoralizing when you're practicing because, like, guarantee, like, I can line probably 15 puts up from 7 or 8 feet. I'm probably going to make half at most, and that's quite like a big mental thing to get over
You see the mistakes.
because you
You
know
see
these
how
are the length
bad
puts
you
that
are.
you're going to have on the course.
Yeah.
It's such a weird. It's what I need to take into account if I want to progress even more. To start counting how many puts, record how many puts I'm making, and actually going on the putting green and working on my putting.
Yeah.
I enjoy working on my chipping because I'm good at chipping. Like, I'm going to see a good
Yeah.
outcome every time.
Whereas
It's egotistical of me to keep practicing chipping.
you need to go
What I
and
really
do
need to
something
do is be
about that.
objective and go on the putting green.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the fact that you recognize it is, it's impressive. And what the fuck, dude? All right, somebody was trying to call me.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
So it's not like egotistical of you to go and practice your chipping because you're still getting better at it,
Yeah.
but I think maybe if you figure out ways to enjoy, practicing your putting, then you'll feel the same way about your putting. It'll be almost like, I shouldn't be working on my putting, but this drill is super fun, and like it makes it
Yeah.
enjoyable. It's funny though because putting is less correlated to success on the PGA Tour than driving distance is. So like
Yeah.
driving distance is more of an indicator of success on the PGA Tour, or a stronger indicator of success than putting
Right.
averages.
Oh.
It's probably because if you drive the ball that far, your chance or your proximity to the hole is going to be higher, so you don't have to
so
put
you
as
don't
good.
have to put. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Perhaps
And
there's
I
lots of
think
ways
the
to
thing that
draw on data, but
Yeah. I think the thing that people stigmatize about that too is like, oh, you just want to hit your drives farther because it makes you look good or whatever. You got to get the ball in the hole, putt for dough, drive for show, all these, sayings and shit that really isn't backed up by like numbers. And then you can just put that in front of somebody and be like, yeah, I think we should work on speed. It's more correlated to success. And not only are you going to hit your driver farther, but when you get a 7-iron in your hands, you're going to hit that farther too because you can swing faster, and you're going to hit your wedge farther. So instead of having an 8-iron into a green, you might have a pitching wedge into the green, which is a shorter club. You can control it better. You're more apt to be closer to the hole too because you drove it further. So not only are you further down the fairway, but you have a lesser club in your hand than person B who doesn't hit it as far in that same situation. So you're technically more accurate too then, because I have a 150-yard shot and I hit this club and you hit this longer club because you don't work on that.
Yeah, that's really
That makes
interesting
sense.
I've never heard anyone put it that way, and it's like I think people need to hear it because what we also forget is amateurs play on a lot wider fairways, a lot shorter golf courses. If you can increase your distance, you can really start to improve your scores. We're playing 6,500, 7,000 yard golf courses with wide fairways with rough that's not that penal.
You can go for it.
Like
if
if
get
you
the
can really
distance
increase
down.
yardage on those courses, like you're gonna have wedge in your hand most holes
Yeah.
going in your second shot. Like
Yeah.
Which would be
tell me that's not advantageous. Like
yeah. That's why like the 1st and the 18th at St. Andrews is so cool because the fairway is like a cow pasture. You could hit it anywhere. On the first hole, you could aim 90 yards left and you'd have a pretty easy shot into the green. You know, 18, same thing. The only nerve-wracking thing about 18 is the green is in the corner, so you have the street going up behind the green, and then you have the road, next to, I don't know if the hotel is on that particular road or not. You have, all these buildings lining the right side of the fairway, and you have this green, which is about, I think it's like 330 or something, that hole.
Drivable in a hot summer's day, especially on a summer's day,
which is another reason why links golf is cool, because, if you have the wind behind you or whatever, you could run something up there. If the wind's in your face, you could just try and, pump something out there, like figuring out the bounces and all these different things that like gives you so much freedom. So it's a good thing that you work on your wedges, because you probably hit off a good bit of firm ground over there.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, obviously, I completely forget as well that the fairways react to your club differently in America. Like, I'd probably chip terribly if I went and played on some Bermuda.
Dude, it's no joke. It's a totally different shot, dude.
Green, especially when the grain's when it's growing into you, when it's cut into you, like, duff,
dude,
central.
Those are the toughest chip shots to hit, honestly. That's what I worked on a lot when I was down in Florida, was like learning how to use the bounce of the wedge and just like hitting those different shots into different grains, because it takes spin off the ball. It makes it go higher. Like, you better not hit behind it. Otherwise, like, the ball's not going anywhere. So unless you just like pop down on the back of the ball and, use the bounce a little bit, like, you're not going to hit a good chip shot, So, that doesn't allow for as much creativity, because it's like, you have to hit it this way.
Yeah, the lie dictates your shot, right?
100%. And like that Florida swing that they do every year over here with the Honda Classic, and then they have the Valspar at I think it's like Copperhead or Innisbrook or something like that. Those courses are so tough, dude.
The Bears Club. Is it Bears Club?
Bears Club is down there too. Yeah. I don't know if they do any.
I'm thinking about the Bear Trap at Honda. I'm thinking about the Bear Trap on the Honda Classic.
Yeah, the Bear Trap
that
is
water.
at a PGA National.
Yeah.
Which is at the Honda Classic. That tournament is dope too. Over by the 17th green, they have like a Tito's tent. So you're watching guys hit balls into the green, and you're just posted up in the Tito's tent for the day.
Shit face.
Enjoying the show, basically. So that's a good tournament to get to too.
Bay Hill and Sawgrass as well.
What's that?
Bay Hill and Sawgrass are two other.
Oh, dude, super golf courses. It's too bad because Pete Dye's wife passed away earlier on this year. And like, she basically came up with the idea for the island green there at Sawgrass, because Pete Dye apparently, from my understanding, he didn't have enough dirt to fill in that hole. So he's trying to figure out like, where am I going to get this dirt and stuff? What am I going to do to make this hole happen? And she said, well, why not make it a pond? Like, why not make it an island green? And then that's how it worked out. So apparently she was a super smart golf mind. But yeah, I would like to get there too. And just experience that island green, dude, because that must be crazy.
Yeah.
What was it saying? Was it the difference between them playing in March and May? Like they were seeing like pitch and wedge in May and 4-iron in March.
Jesus
Was
Christ.
it something like that, Michael? Like the difference in club between 2 months and the temperature was just like,
Really?
yeah. Obviously, it got moved forward this year, didn't it, players?
Yeah, I'm sure it was significant. From my understanding, altitude has more to do with ball flight than humidity does, which I would think is what you're talking about from like March to let's say like one of the cooler, more just like dry months down there. I'm sure it makes a big difference, because it rains basically every day down there during the summer, so it's always humid. They're always having thunderstorms, but yeah, I'd imagine it would be a pretty big difference as well.
But then you go to the World Golf Championship in Mexico and the ball's just fucking flying like 400.
Crazy, dude. Crazy. Yeah. I forget. Yeah, it was Mexico, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Mexico this year.
Type event.
It was a World Golf Championship. Yeah, it was in Bridgestone. I've been to Bridgestone.
Yeah. That was sick, man. Guys were going super deep. They were throwing these crazy numbers up. It's like, wow, like this is a different level of thought here. That's why. What are your guys' thoughts on Bryson?
Well,
yeah.
Mitchell's but this is where I'm lost. This is where
my thoughts on Bryson. Look, I have no problem with his individual take on the game, and it's obviously shown success for him, and I get that. What I don't like, I think he's played it in the marketing genius's hands behind the scenes. He's playing into it a bit too much. Like, I hate how every time he's on, a pundit has to call him a Satanist. Like, we get it. You're into your figures. You're into your numbers. You're into your length. I get it. I like the approach. Don't like the way it's portrayed. I like Bryson as a person. I think he comes across quite nice. Like, Tiger's taken a nice sort of brotherhood to him. So I do like the guy. But I think the media is a bit overkill on the whole Satanist thing. I think that's killing his brand a bit. But by being too focused on it. Yeah, it's a bit too much.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, chill out. Like,
fair.
but I do like him.
Yeah.
I like his take. And I get his whole thing with obviously having the same length irons. Goes back to your point. If he's just making big body movements, which by his swing he does, then he's gonna have more consistent shots.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, 100%. I agree with it, and everything that you said. I don't think there's anything wrong with his processes, and I think it's important to have all those things in mind. Two things that I think about it too, though. One would be, I agree with you in saying that he's made it kind of a selling point, which is like, it almost diminishes the importance of the entire process. It's like, okay, you're portraying it as this now, when you get offered a little bit of money for a commercial.
Yeah.
Which the authenticity goes.
It diminishes the internal importance of the process. And secondly, I think it shouldn't slow the tournament down. Like, that's fine if you want to do all these things, but learn how to do it in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
So we're not playing 5-hour rounds, dude. Like,
that slow play will kill the tour if they're not careful. Like, they need to be more penal just because they're big name players and they're bringing crowds and money. Like, I'm sorry, they need to be penalised way quicker, in my opinion. In the European Tour, they've been a lot stricter recently. They even brought a rule to it. I think it's like the Omega Championship in Switzerland last year, where they had it timed. It was time rounds.
Yeah. Well, the whole round had a time limit on it.
It was all clocked.
Oh, right, okay.
Every hole was clocked to make so you were getting like rounds under 4 hours, which in professional golf's like groundbreaking, really. When there's 5.5, 6 hour rounds on the PGA Tour at the minute.
Insane. That's too long.
Like, who won it? Riviera this year, not Hoffman.
I have no idea, man. I can't even think of it. Riviera.
He won at Riviera this year. Who won at Riviera this year? He takes ridiculous long time to hit the ball. He annoyed me.
Oh,
He'd back off it. He'd come back. He'd back off it again. He'd chat with his
What
caddy. He'd
year?
get a different-
2018,
Yeah,
2019.
2019.
Let's have a look.
Genesis Open. Who won the Genesis?
The-
That is the one, Mickey.
It was, according to this, J.
JB Holmes.
Yeah, you're right. He did.
He strikes the ball like ridiculously good, but he takes
Yeah.
so long to play the game.
Just don't want to watch it because of it.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's really bad for the game. Like really bad.
Yeah, see, from my point of view, if I was watching someone's taking too long, I like the action. You want to see the shots. Like, you don't want to see someone deliberating over it for however long.
No, man. He was belly in the
This, that, and the
coverage.
other.
He was belly in the coverage.
Because of that.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
There you go. There
All
you
of a
go.
sudden, it's like,
That's
oh,
crazy.
JB Holmes is content to win. Everyone's like, what?
Yeah, why? It's because we're not
We
putting
haven't
the
seen
camera
him.
on him because he's taking too long. Yeah. Fair.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's something that the PGA Tour themselves find, because, like you had said about the European Tour, they are very strong on their values and in terms of the integrity of the game. Like, what are we doing? This tournament is not just a singular event. Like, this is going to be a butterfly effect. Like, if we let this happen, then this will happen, and these companies will, just gravitate towards these kind of actions now because, well, you extended coverage here, so we should get this commercial space or
More
this or that.
adverts,
advertising.
How bad. It's so money focused.
Yeah.
I think like if it wasn't Bryson, I'm sure they would put him on the clock, but they're probably thinking, hey, this guy might win. Do we really want to put him on the clock? And
Yeah. It's a funny one.
Do
yeah.
we want a lawsuit from Puma and Cobra?
Yeah, dude. It's like, I think it's in the conversation more than it should be. I think it should just be like, yo, we're playing a 4.5 hour round max.
Yeah.
Like, you guys do this for a living. Figure it out.
Yeah.
We can't create that disservice to the guys who are playing behind you just because you need to go through your checklist and say, what's the wind doing? What's the air pressure? What is the water content of the grass that I'm hitting this ball out of? Seriously, like, these are all parameters that are gone through.
Jesus
From
Christ.
my understanding, but why wouldn't you?
If it's quick, then yes.
Yeah, but
Right.
if it's not penalised, then you've got no reason not to.
Yeah.
But the same thing is like,
yeah,
Bryson's not a bionic superhuman. I'm sorry, no matter how many factors you take into consideration, you cannot tell me a human body is capable of judging the water content and the grass beneath you and then adjusting your swing accordingly to hit the ball pure.
No.
That's just not like that's called feel. And yes, there is feel involved in your lies and shots and stuff, but working out like numbers related to like density and like it's just like takes the fun out of it.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that he doesn't do as well and isn't talked about very much is regulating his internal environment separate of space and time. So, like, okay, we're in this tournament here. I have this putt. It's this hole. I'm at this number, and sometimes when he doesn't perform, he loses his cool a little bit. I think I saw him smash his putter into the green or something like that. Out of like frustration, and it's like, man, you're going to put all this time and effort into studying like the mechanics of the swing and the outcomes and all the different effects and this and that, but that goes by the wayside, you know.
When you act like a child after you've hit a bad shot.
Yeah.
And as well, Bryson, if you ever do come across this, like, I like you, but your putter is anchored. It's like, how's his putting stroke legal?
That's a good question.
That's right up against his forearm, isn't it? But like, yeah.
Yeah, I think anchored is a term that is only linked to the torso or the chin area. Like your hands ball onto the club, and like your arms are an extension of your hands, really. So that would be like saying if I grab the bottom of the grip with my wedge and I had it rested up against like my left forearm and I was hitting chip shots like that, like is that still anchored? You know,
it's blurred. It is blurred lines.
Yeah. But my question to you here is, do you think that anchoring your putter is that much of an advantage?
My honest answer is I don't have a clue. I just what I'm trying to get is like if anchoring your putter on your forearm is legal, then how is that more or less advantageous than anchoring your putter on your chin or your stomach or your belly? To say
that's
they're using
question.
They're using the same science, like hinging against something to keep your
Stable.
keep your hands out your action.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't studied it, so I can't give like a purposeful opinion really. But it's just like a observation, I guess.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Like that's definitely a loophole for me too,
Yeah,
because
it's a loophole.
Same concept. You're stabilizing the grip with another portion of your body, outside of your hands, which it's like, think of the greatest putters of all time. Did any of them ever anchor their putters? Like, no. They all used putters that were held in their hands. They were all very feel oriented. Like Ben Crenshaw, dude, if you listen to him talk about putting on YouTube, it's just like the simplest stuff. It's just like, yeah, you want to feel the weight of the putter, and it's like, God, like that's all you think about,
Yeah,
there's no secret, and it's just super simple stuff that are always related to just feeling the weight of the putter head. I think Bobby Locke was like a good putter, a really good putter too, and he had like a similar kind of. I mean, Jack was a great putter, very handsy with it. Tiger is a super good putter.
My favorite putter on tour is Ricky Fowler. That stroke
dude,
beautiful.
Yeah, I love everything about his stroke, and it just kind of makes me scratch my head why the USGA would even make that rule. Like it's not that advantageous, so why
sweat the small stuff?
Yeah, and that is such a knock to the golf economy too, because then you have all these putters that are belly putters, chin putters that are just going to lay on the shelves because they're not legal.
And they're going to stop making them as well. And the old 75-year-old sort of doesn't have the flexibility to bend over a putter. Like he needs the hinge. Yeah. Like he needs the belly putter.
Right.
But yeah.
That's a good point, dude. I had not thought about that. Yeah, I don't. That entire rule is just kind of a head scratcher. Never like putt with a chin putter or a belly putter or this or that, and I just like this guy doesn't miss anything. It's always kind of a crutch almost.
Yeah.
Adam Scott and Bernard Langer are the only two that I can really consider, that I think of, that are like really good putters with those putters. And Adam Scott, haven't heard his name in a while.
Yeah, he struggled with the rule changes. He's had a bit of a really good form this year, but like, yeah, he struggled massively with the rule changes.
Yeah, it's a shame, dude.
But yeah, Michael, sorry to cut you off, bro, but honestly, we've got to wait a clock, and we've got to shoot. We didn't think it would take this long. We just got deep into it. I just looked at the computer there. So yeah, sorry, bud, but we're gonna have to cut it up, I guess.
What we'll do is we'll do the usual, so we'll do like a wrap-up statement, but don't go anywhere, Michael. We'll chat to you after the podcast. We've stopped recording, and then we'll say proper goodbyes and stuff like that. But yeah, as well, I just wanted to make sure we wish you a happy birthday live on the podcast as well, because we didn't do that at the start.
Okay, yeah.
We started off, so happy birthday, and yeah, I do really hope you enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you have got planned. But yeah.
But yeah, just to sort of a closing statement, Michael. Obviously, we'll do this again. We're obviously growing a relationship here, but what can any of the JJ Nation or any of your community expect from you over the next few months as you continue your grind and hustle?
Yeah, So I'm gonna be integrating a lot of the implications and intuitions I've gained from the research project that I did into my into like my instruction and my content too.
Nice.
So like I said, I got those little pair of like camera glasses
They're
right
sick.
there, and
I love the glasses.
it'll be super easy to explain. I'm going to put out a little bit more information on like why I use like elastic bands and the mental processes to help you know, allow your body to move in different directions instead of just trying to force it, you know. So different mental cues to fix you know, anything under the sun, really. Just mostly full swing stuff, probably a little bit of golf course management type stuff. Get out there, hit a couple putts, go through those processes. But you know, whatever pops up, man.
Nice.
Trying to get over to the UK.
Yeah, no, we sort that out.
We're getting close to going to the States. We're obviously as we're growing, we're starting to get more connections, networks, sponsorships, that sort of thing. So we do hope to be out there soon. But for anyone who hasn't seen Michael before, like getting his Instagram, if you want to learn how to hit the ball further, if you want to hear something different, something unique that's derived from like individual sort of what word I'm looking for,
from an individual perspective.
No, individual tests. Michael's gone out there, done the test himself, crunched the numbers himself, and derived his own answers, which is like remarkable. You're not just taking from other people's sort of books, if you like. You're making your own. That's admirable. You're creating a new, unique way in which people can learn the game, learn how to get better. So keep doing you. If you haven't seen him, go and check him out.
And a lot of his content is hilarious as well.
It's so funny.
Like, so
he's a chiller. Look at him. He's chilling there. He's had about two or three big fat doobies this morning. He's looking good. He's feeling good. And if you want to go and feel ashamed about the size of your biceps, I'd suggest you check out his page as well.
Hey, you know, all good. You know, like a fucking a goal or something. I don't know, but yeah. I appreciate you guys having me on.
No, honestly, Michael, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Love going deep.
Nice to connect with familiar minds. So keep doing what you're doing too, and let me know if I can do anything to help you out too.
No worries, bro.
Same over here, man. And I'm sure, obviously, we speak every week. So yeah, I'll see you next time in DM, man.
See you later, Michael.
All right.
Take it easy, boy.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.